We have got a super yacht on the run. We've got a big, big boat. One of the world's biggest boats in a port in Tuscany. Tuscan port. Is it Putin's boat? Well, 70% of the crew, they're Russian. Just kind of came out of nowhere and nobody really knows whose boat it is. The registered owners, it's complicated. What we're talking about today. Italy investigating mystery owner of $700 million super yacht rumored to be Putin's. If you follow yachting at all, I follow it a little bit. I just like to look at big boats. They're ridiculous. They're absolutely the most ridiculous thing you could ever spend your money on. So expensive, so crazy. And that's why we like to look at them, because it's like, all right, yeah, that's a massive boat. I will never own one of those, but yeah. So one that is in play, this is a boat that's in play because everybody's like, whose boat is that? Because these boats, early on during the Russia's invasion of Ukraine, we had a boat seized in Germany. We had a boat seized in France. So you've got owners of Russian or even people with just ties to Russian businessmen. You got people moving their boats all over because Europe and everybody else is going after all the assets of anybody tied to this Russian invasion. It's crazy. One of the things that I always think about when this storyline comes up is, okay, so Russia is just hammering on Ukraine. They're invading Ukraine, legit, straight up, right? We're on, as of the day of this recording, we're on day, 14? The Russian invasion of Ukraine. If one of their oligarchs loses as their yacht, does it really have that much of an impact? Or is it just one of so many different assets? Because these guys are billionaires with a B. If you got 20, 30, 40 billion, whatever it is, you lose a $600 million yacht. Are you like, if you're a normal person and maybe you've got like a Porsche 911, whatever model, say it costs you $100,000. Are you sad to see that go? Absolutely. That's a heartbreaker. But does it really change things? Because you're probably going to get it back. Okay, so it's gone. So literally the pain. You've got money. Say your boat gets taken away, goes into some port. They take it over. They don't maintain it. Because let's talk about maintenance on these boats. Incredibly expensive. That's probably the last thing I would want to repo from somebody else is one of these massive super yachts because they're just so expensive. Dock time alone, mind blowing. Some of these yachts rent out for $1 million a week. $1 million a week. That's how expensive they are. And they're rented out year round. They're chartered out year round. Come with a crew. I mean, you need a crew of 40, 50, 60 people sometimes on these big, big boats. It's not like on TV where you see the crew of 3 and, you got a captain and you got some little deckhand guy. It's not like that. It's like full on massive. These are like ferries with a massive crew and they're luxurious. And so they need all this cleaning and stuff. And it's crazy. So Italy, they have boarded a yacht in Italian waters in Tuscany, and they are, who's the owner? That's what we're playing right now. We're playing who is the owner, because then we're going to take that boat. The financial, just putting the squeeze on the Russians financially, okay. And people say that that's the last step between actual, U.S. or any U.S. allies going into war on Russia. All right. We're putting the financial squeeze on them. We're not allowing them this portion of this banking system. We're just really okay. Yeah. But the whole yacht thing, I think these billionaires are just like, all right, I got my yacht for a little bit. I'm going to get it back when this is all over. And, does this, okay, so damn it, I can't go yachting this week. I can't take that family. No, these guys are worried about losing their other hard assets, right? Their big assets. But the other thought that I have right there is these guys are all in crypto. They're criminals anyway, right? I mean, all these billionaires coming out of Russia, they didn't get it by working super hard. I mean, they worked hard in their own right, but they've got ties to Putin and they're let's be honest, they're criminals. They're criminals. They got it by sucking up to Putin and his folks. And, that's just how it's done. So if they lose a yacht, it's like, yeah, that sucks. Oh, I'll get that back. And that's how I approach it. That's kind of what I'm thinking. If I was put in their shoes, yeah, you don't want to see something like that go, especially if you love your boat. But if you got billions and billions and billions of dollars, well, yeah, my Porsche 911, it's gone. Well, I'll have to just do a few more deals and, just buy another one. I mean, when you're a billionaire, that's kind of how things go. So putting the squeeze on them with super yachts, I know the rest of the world is like, oh, that's horrible. He lost his super yacht. Okay. But in real reality, it's all the other money, the money that they need to spend on the super yachts, things creating income, whatever that is, the massive hordes of cash. And it's not like the Russian invasion of Ukraine happened just lickety split. That's one of the things that just boggles my mind is we watched it in like slow motion happen, right? I mean, we just did. And then that thing with Putin at the end where he's like, no, not going to invade. We're going to, he did that fake out. No, we're really serious this time. We're not going to invade. And you're like, what are you putting all your troops around Ukraine for then? What's up with that? You're going to invade. Anybody who didn't think that was going to happen is like, well, you're definitely a glass half full kind of person, because the rest of us are like, yeah, that's coming. That's coming. So these, Russian billionaires or people tied to the Russian billionaires or people tied to Putin, they've known this is coming. The problem with the super yacht, they're too damn big. You can't hide them. Try bringing a super yacht into any port in the world. Oh, that's a massive ship. We had one of Jerry Jones's ships, or his big ship, here in Port of Seattle not long ago when he was coming to town. And it was a monster. I can't remember how many was it. I can't remember. But by these standards, it was a mega yacht, not a super yacht. And they have definitions based on how many feet, your boat is. And so these super yachts, they're just enormous. You can't hide them. I mean, this boat pulls into anywhere in the world and it just sticks out like a sore thumb. So that's why I think it's easy to go after these assets. Plus, it's, a PR thing where, we got a super yacht. All right. Yeah, that's cool. How about the other billions of dollars that he got from illegally doing who knows what? What about that? Well, we're working on that. From Germany's North Sea ports to the French Riviera. That sounds nice this time of year, doesn't it? The French Riviera. Open season has been declared on super yachts. Across Europe, authorities are hunting down luxury vessels tied to Russian oligarchs in an effort to inflict pain on President Vladimir Putin's allies, taking their super yachts. In Marina di Carrara, a small Italian town on the Tuscan coast, one of the world's biggest, newest, and most expensive super yachts, called I'm going to butcher this. I'm just going to butcher it once, and we're going to call it the S from then on. The Scheherazade. Yep. That didn't come out well. Is under scrutiny by the Italian police. It's almost as long as a U.S. guided missile destroyer. It dominates the waterfront because it's so big. The yacht, estimated by the website Super Yacht Fan to cost about $700 million, has 2 helicopter decks and is studded with satellite domes. Well, yeah, if it's somebody who's a billionaire, they need to keep up on their news. I mean, they need to be able to get their YouTube feed of news for reasonable people, don't they? Yeah, no. Inside, they're busy out making the news, aren't they? Inside, photos supplied by a former crew member show there's a swimming pool with a retractable cover that converts to a dance floor. Then there's the fully equipped gym and gold-plated fixtures in the bathrooms. I've never really understood that one. Gold-plated fixtures in the bathrooms. Why on earth do you need that? Because stainless steel isn't good enough. Chrome, moly, some metal isn't good enough. I don't know. Gold in the restrooms. Whatever. In the rarefied world of the biggest super yachts, which means that they are at least 140 meters or 459 feet long, the S is a loan in that no likely owner has been publicly identified. So it's got some kind of corporate cloak over it, right? It just does. It's an asset. People don't want to be identified that own this boat. All right, I get that. And that has spurred speculation that it could be a Middle Eastern billionaire. Those Middle Eastern billionaires, they're not reasonable people. No. Or a super connected Russian, even Mr. Putin himself. All right. So this is like a big news story right now. And that's what always kind of makes me wonder, all right, what else is going on that's more important than this? Because repoing somebody's boat, okay, that's just a cluster. So I get it. I mean, a lot of it is just, oh, well, look what we're doing to this boat collection. You know, we're taking away his toys. Okay, yeah. Meanwhile, he's, doing the invasion of Ukraine. Just a lot going on. And yet I really feel like these kind of news stories were like, well, look at what we're doing there. We got his yacht. Right. Yeah, that doesn't really, I like to read the stories because I want to see what kind of yacht they are. But beyond that, I don't think this is the squeeze that people think it is. It's the it's the sanctions that are going to either work or not. And I don't know. The whole thing to me is just kind of like, the impact to the world could be pretty horrendous because, this little thing called dependent upon Russian oil. Yeah. Watching a video yesterday, I can't remember where it was or who it was, but it was Trump just absolutely calling out what's going on right now with gas prices and invasion of Ukraine and a bunch of other things. It's one of those statements in 2018 that he would have made. And you're like, oh, that'll never happen. And then you watch it like 4 years later and you're like, damn, he was right on. So many of those, right? I think he addresses things in such a way that people are like, okay, there he is blowing smoke again. And yet so many of those times we've been shown that it's like, oh, yeah, he was dead on. And that does seem a little weird because some of the stuff he used to tweet when he had a Twitter account was just like, okay, yeah, that's a little out there. I see where you're going. If you would have toned that down just a scooch, probably could have sold that to more people. However, you kind of went for the throat, but it's Donald Trump and that's what he's going to do. But, watching him 4 years ago, making these predictions, and he's literally talking about, well, they're going to ask you to give up your cars and gas is going to go to $6, $7, $8 a gallon. And we all laughed and said, that'll never happen. Here we are, right? Here we are. It's just crazy. So the super yacht being one of those kind of big ticket items that you can sell to the public. Look, we got their super yachts. We're really hurting them because what are they going to do without their super yachts? So oftentimes these big boats, they just sit at docks and they don't really go anywhere. And yeah, they're incredibly expensive to run. Some of the numbers on them. So oftentimes they'll say, all right, on an annual basis, it's like 10% of the value. So you got a $700 million super yacht. Call it $70 million a year to run the thing. I mean, just the amount of crew it takes to keep up on, powering the systems up, the fuel, the water alone, you could have 250,000, gallon capacity, just incredible. And you can go out to sea on these things forever and you can't hide because every radar system in the world, every satellite system in the world is going to pick up an item that big. But you can go out and do your own thing and, have your helicopter fly you to and from shore, not just one, but two. So the wife, she can take the dog to the vet in a port if, you're like a few miles offshore. So just a different world. It's a wildly different world. And are we really making an impact here? Who knows? Who knows? It's the sanctions that I think will, that's the actual heart of it, right? But these are part of that. So that's kind of why we're talking about. The ship's captain, Guy Bennett Pierce, a British national, denied that Mr. Putin owned or had ever even been on the yacht. I have never seen him. I have never met him, he said. Yeah, but they might keep it that way. Don't you think? I mean, couldn't you see that? Although getting on and off a boat, yeah. He added in a phone interview from the yacht that its owner was not on any sanctions list. He did not rule out that the person could be Russian, but declined to say more about the owner's identity, citing a watertight non-disclosure agreement. Yeah, but those things get broken all the time. Oh, did I say that? I did. Yeah. Captain Bennett Pierce said that Italian investigators had come aboard on Friday, and they examined some of the ship's certification documents. You ever been boarded by the Coast Guard? Or the police? It's not good. We're going to need to see this, and this. And you're like, yeah, it's not fun. So we've got a big folder for that when that happens, because invariably that does happen for one reason or another. They are looking hard. They're looking at every aspect, the captain said. This isn't the local coppers coming down. These are men in dark suits. Uh-oh. That's serious business. A person familiar with the matter, speaking on the condition of being anonymous because he was not authorized to discuss it, confirmed that the Italian financial police had opened an inquiry. Hey, whose boat is that? Whose enormous boat is that within our port? On Monday night, Captain Bennett Pierce said he had no choice but to hand over documents revealing the owner's identity to the Italian authorities. He said he would do so on Tuesday and had been told that it would be handled with confidentiality. Don't worry, we won't tell anybody. We'll be very discreet. You can count on us. I have no doubt in my mind whatsoever that this will clear the vessel of all negative rumors and speculations, he wrote in a message to a New York Times reporter. And yet the boat is known as Putin's boat. Interesting, right? You're like, okay, but maybe they're just making stuff up. The mystery about the ship's owner arose because even for the hyper-confidential world of super yachting, there is an unusual degree of secrecy surrounding this vessel. There not only do contractors and crew members sign non-disclosure agreements as on many super yachts, because what happens on a super yacht stays on a super yacht. But the ship also has a cover to hide its nameplate. And when it first arrived at the port, workers erected a tall metallic barrier on the pier to partly obscure the yacht from onlookers. I follow one guy who covers the super yacht world, and he has been just all worked up because there's been so much activity in his sphere of big boats. And I've watched a lot of the footage that he has, and he'll literally go right up to these boats. And oftentimes there's nothing. I mean, you can't hide them. You know, you fly a drone over. All right, well, there's a super yacht. They're just so big. You know, just these huge boats. And if you've ever seen a super yacht or a mega yacht or just a really big yacht, I mean, they're big rigs. In a State of the Union address last week, President Biden announced a Justice Department task force to go after all these guys' stuff and do sanctions. We all know that. Sanctions have been imposed against hundreds of people, and the list keeps growing. Trying to put the squeeze on them. Putin just keeps invading Ukraine. Okay, so within the last week or so, we've had the boat Amore Vero that was seized, and that was in France. And then we had in Italy, police in San Remo, they impounded Lena, a yacht belonging to Gennady Timchenko, a Putin friend, all right, who has an oil exporting business, amongst other enterprises. In nearby Imperia, police also impounded the Lady M, that was a big one, a yacht belonging to Alexei Mordajov, all right, I butchered that as well, Russia's richest man. So they're just going after these yachts willy-nilly as the sanctions get put in place. And you've got all these huge, massive assets tied up on the world stage. These are these stories that everybody's just all, oh, what's going on? What's happening? And then we'll have some kind of ceasefire. I mean, I imagine we're going to have some kind of negotiations. We're going to have some kind of agreements. And then these boats, they just get released right back to their owners. Because what are you going to do with it? If you're a governmental entity, you don't want the financial drain of maintaining somebody else's boat. You just don't. Even just the resources to keep them basically afloat are incredible. So no, you go after the financial sanctions, the things that really put the squeeze on them. That's what you do. Determining the ownership of assets that the wealthy want to keep hidden is difficult because they're really wealthy and they can spend a lot of money keeping stuff secret, right? Especially without a warrant, because they are often zealously guarded by private bankers and lawyers and tucked away in opaque shell companies and offshore secrecy havens. In Italy, the phrase Putins Yacht has become shorthand for a mysterious and ultra-luxurious ship. It's also a joke among the dozens of crew members, Captain Bennett Pierce said. I've heard the same rumors. So he knows who the owner is. He's not really saying. We're going to find out if it's not Putin's yacht. It's not. It's just that you see a big yacht roll in and it came from somewhere else and you're like, that's got to be Putin's. Plus, it's more exciting if it's Putin's yacht. Guaranteed it's not. It is probably some Middle Eastern billionaire. Because you would have seen Putin on it. There'd be some history. Putin's not the kind of guy that, hunkers down and he was riding around on the horse with his shirt off, right? You remember that? He's just, riding my horse and getting a tan. He's just kind of that macho guy who he does stuff like that. There would be some kind of media coverage of him doing something. Maybe riding a jet ski with no life vest, something like that, right? It'd just be, something just whatever. All right. So the minute we find out whose super yacht this is, I'll let you know, because that's a reasonable thing that we want to know, and we're reasonable people, right? Thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for supporting News for Reasonable People. I'll catch up with you soon. Till then, stay safe. We'll talk again. Bye for now.